Hello, I'm Tactical Pascale. Welcome to the channel. I hope this finds you all safe and well. In this DCS World tutorial, I'm going to show you how to drop laser guided bombs in the JF-17 Thunder. I'll cover how to drop them in the auto mode because I find that is the easiest to use and the one you're going to use most often. So I'm not going to mess around with the other modes, I'm just going to focus on auto mode. So let's get cracking. So here we have our JF-17 now. To actually drop our bombs, we first need to put them on. So we're going to go to rearm refuel now. The first thing we want to do using laser guided bombs is go to pylon number 4, that's our center line. And we're going to put on the WMD-7 pod. That's going to allow us to laser designate our own targets. Now standard, I'm going to go for the wings. I'm going to put some PL5s on for a bit of self-defense. Now on pylons 2 and 6, we can have either a single 500 pound GBU-12 or two 500 pound GBU-12s. I'm going to take 2 because more. And then on the inner pylons, pylons 5 and 3, we can take either the 1000 pound GBU-16 or the 2000 pound GBU-10. Now this thing's used for things like bunkers and things. I'm going to take a GBU-16 on those inner pylons. Now you can see that there's no fuel tank available because I don't have a spare pylon. We can't carry a lot in the JF, but this profile will be enough to get me where I want to go and do my bombing. So I'm going to click OK and then go back into the cockpit. Now obviously the ground crew are going to have to reload that, so we're going to have to update our DTC card. Now we don't have one inserted at the moment, so what we're going to do is open the canopy and get warning from Betty. And once we get the ground crew have rearmed and reloaded successfully, you'll see the stores coming on the pylons in a second. You can see the aircraft moving, that means our 16s are on. There we go. There go the 12s. So once that's done, you need to go into your ground crew again and press update DTC data and update data.
Copy. Updating the DTC now.
Now they'll update the DTC. Once that's done, I can slot it in, close the canopy.
DTC update complete.
There we go. So I'm going to start closing the canopy and I'm going to put the data cartridge in. Now we need to come across to our left panel as normal and we need to click all and enter to transfer the DTC data in there. Now we'll get a warning because the config will be incorrect, so we'll have to come back here and switch our mode to air to ground. There we go, air to ground. We're now switched. Now it's still loading everything up. Once it's done, we'll go to air to ground mode and we'll see the weapons that we have loaded. Okay, DTC is locked. I'm going to switch to air to ground mode. A nice little beep there saying the weapons are being armed. Now that's saying we can not drop, essentially saying don't drop them here. Let me turn that off just now by turning it off the master arm. So we can see here our weapons that we have selected. On the outer pylons we have the GBU-12s, inner pylons GBU-16. Now they all say off at the moment because we're on the ground. We need to be airborne for that. Now profile is air to surface 1 and that is my GBU-12s. Air to surface 2 is GBU-16. Now we can see here the laser code for the GBU-16s is 1688. Laser code for the GBU-12s is also 1688. Now that needs to be set on the ground. We can't go in and change that in the air. So if we wanted to do it, it's the same way we do it with the BRM rockets in a previous video. We go ground crew and then we go update laser code, and then if you want to change it you'll hit choose all pylons and then change the code. But for now I'm just going to leave it as 1688. So now we've done that, we'll taxi and we'll take off and then we'll pick this back up and I'll show you the operations modes of the bombs. So we're airborne and we're on climb out towards steer point, in fact I'll put steer point 1 in actually, that might help. So we're going to climb out and head towards steer number 1 where I've got some targets. Now there's 20 miles away, so what I'll do is I'll climb and I'll do a little bit of an orbit around the area while I discuss how we operate the actual weapons themselves. Now step 1, I want to do something to make sure that we're ready for the target. So I'm going to switch to air to ground mode. And then we can see on the right hand side we've still got our HSD. Now I don't want that, I want to see my laser targeting pod. Now you click pod, WMD-7 And I'm going to show you something here that a lot of people find sometimes is a problem. As you click on and nothing happens, you're like, why is my pod not working? Look to the bottom right and make sure you've pressed your CLDP button. That allows the pod to connect, and you click on. Now the bit test to run that takes about a minute to sort out. So I'm going to keep climbing up here. In fact, let me put autopilot on and we'll go to 20,000. I'll let it do its job. So coming across to the left hand panel, we see that our bombs are all off. So what I need to do is go master arm on, and that'll start loading up the GBU-12s. Now to prep the GBU-16s, I'm going to click them as air to surface program 2. So everything's armed, so back to air to surface 1. Now there are various modes you can drop the bombs in: auto, CCIP, DTOS, VIP, and DIR, or direct. I'm going to stick with auto because I find it to be the most accurate. I'm not going to cover the other ones because that auto mode is what you want to be using. It's very, very simple. Now it tells you their mode is auto, weapon is GBU-12, fuse is set to safe, so we need to change that because we want a bang. So we click the button and then we can have nose, and tail. I'm going to go nose and tail. Now we can drop them in pairs, so if we click quantity 2, and then we can choose the interval, the breakaway altitude, but I don't want to do that because we're dropping a single laser guided bomb at a time here. So my BRL is my breakaway altitude of 500 feet. I don't want that one to change, so go 400. There we go, we're getting a little audible alarms now. So we're about 3 miles away from the target, so I'm going to turn autopilot off. And I'm just going to put my autopilot back on, and I'll hold this altitude. So my targeting pod is on. So what I'm going to do is make that my SPI. Now you've got the little asterisk there. And then we're going to click, at the moment it's snowplow, so we're going to uncage it. So it's following the nose of aircraft. I want it to go to steer point 1, so I'm going to click slave, because that is where it's going to slave to my steer point number 1 now. It's a little bit dull down there, so I'm going to change the contrast, then I'm going to zoom in. I'll keep it wide field of view, and then we're going to go IR, and we'll go black hawk. Now we can see we've got a few things starting to appear on the edge there. So now we'll click to wide. There were some vehicles. Let me take autopilot off and I'll roll wings a bit level. Right, so we found our vehicles. So what I'm going to do is just lock the pod to that point. Now we're 7 miles away, so I'm going to fly a little bit further away. It'll maintain about this altitude. So I want to do a GBU-12 drop. So I've got GBU selected here. Mode is auto, GBU-12. I'm going to drop 1, breakaway altitude 400. That doesn't matter, I'm not going to go that level. I'm going to drop from this altitude. Now my laser designator. At the moment I've got it set as, let me zoom my pod in so it stops saying refocus. At the moment I've got it as auto. So when I fly in and drop the bomb, the aircraft will automatically fire the laser at the target. I'm not going to have to worry about pressing the button. The code that I'm going to be pumping out is 1688, so my laser is on that code. Now I can change the code that I designate with, but now that I'm airborne, I can't change the code that the bomb is going to track. So I'm stuck with 1688 simply because of the bombs. If I was buddy lasing for a friend, I need something different set, and like I said in my BRM1 video, if you got a wingman, for example, lead would go 1681, number 2 1682, number 3 1683, and so forth. So what we'll do is we'll fly in towards the target now, and we'll drop a bomb on them. So we'll cut back left. We're at a decent height. You can see the flashing cross on the screen. That means we're not in weapons parameters to drop the bomb. Now we'll cover the symbology once I get straight and level towards the target. And of course, when we can see it with our pod, we'll go point track mode. So if it does move, we can still track it with our aircraft. So continue coming around to the left. Now we can move our radar to air to ground mode, then you could find other things, but I'm just going to use the pod. I'm not going to cover the air to ground radar. So target's coming across at the edge of the lake. So we'll fly in towards our bomb fall line. Now we can see here with our narrow field of view, we've got a couple of targets down there. So we're going to drop a GBU-12 on them. So let me trim to level. I'll fly towards the target. Now we can see in the HUD there we have range is 12. We can see the speed that I'm doing. I've got a closure rate of 527 knots, funnily enough, because that's what speed I'm flying towards them at. Let me just adjust. Let's go for that tank first. That's the one we want. So the range is 9 miles. It's going to refocus. It does that often. Don't worry too much about it. And we've got the bomb fall line. When we get within range, or within 3 seconds of the drop, you'll hear an audible beep. And that's your cue to press and hold your bomb release button, and then put yourself in a nice shallow bank either to the left or to the right. So we're approaching the target, 5 miles away. Bomb is ready. 4.7 from that point. Okay, bomb away, and then the aircraft is automatically going to start lasing that target. And what I'll do is we'll put autopilot and we'll hold a gentle turn there. There we go. Now if you look at F6, the bomb is tracking towards the tanks. We'll just zoom out here, see it coming in. There we go. Track 1. Now we can straight away move to the next target. And if the laser hasn't turned off, you can manually turn it off. So we're going to go for the little BMP here. And for that one we'll use a GBU-12 on the other side, so that we balance the aircraft out. So again, we're in auto mode, GBU-12, drop in 1, breakaway altitude 400, fuse is nose and tail, so it is armed. The laser search is off because we're not working with the JTAC. Our code is set at 1688. And it's automatically going to fire it when we get within range. So, take away the autopilot, and then we'll kick in ourselves. Now, as long as you keep your velocity vector down the bomb fall line, as soon as you hear that audible tone, you can release the bomb, and it's well within range to get to the target. Obviously, the higher up and faster you're going, the more range that bomb's going to have. Simple. So we'll roll in. Gonna be the other side of the lake. There we go. Get towards it now. Get your velocity vector on the bomb fall line. You don't need to look at the target, you just want to keep the velocity vector on that bomb fall line. There we go. Pickle. It's saying I can drop another one if I want. Now the laser's not come on. If it's not, I'll just manually press the laser button myself. So I'm going to go on a slight bank, autopilot, and hold the level. Now we can see our bomb heading in towards our target. That little judder, it's got the laser, it's tracking in. And that's going to be one dead BMP. There it goes, guiding in. That's another shack. Now the GBU-16 and the GBU-10s, they work exactly the same way. So, we're going to go Air to Surface Program 2 to select our GBU-16. Mode is auto GBU-16. Now you see here, fuse has gone back to safe, so we click the button, and I'll hit nose and tail again, and I'm going to drop 1. I'll leave the breakaway altitude at 500. Now we can see up here the range. That's the range to the target, because that's where I've got my pod pointing at. So I'm going to fly away, and then we'll kick back in towards it. There we go. Get a bit of masking of the aircraft of that target area, because it's right behind us. So we'll come along, we'll go a little bit higher this time before we come back in, and that will give us a bit more range on the bomb. Now we're dropping a 1,000 pound bomb this time, so be ready after you've turned off that autopilot to get ready to trim, because obviously you're losing 1,000 pounds from that side of the aircraft. It's going to upset the balance just a little bit. We can see here we're burning through the fuel because I'm going into burner. If you're flying in a normal mission, you're not going to be flying in burner often, you're just going to be loitering around, not in burner, dropping stuff. Right, we'll go for a drop around about 21,000 feet. So we'll turn back in towards the target. Same thing as before. Put your velocity vector, that's the little bit there, through the bomb fall line. You don't need to see the target as long as you fly in that rough fall line and drop, then the bomb we'll get to the target. As soon as you hear that audible boop, you're in range. So it was going off about 4 miles last time, so let's see how much extra legs going up to 21,000 has given us. So continuing in, maybe another 20 degrees off the nose. See the circle coming towards. Keep flying towards the bomb fall line. So I want to position my velocity vector over the bomb fall line. There it is. Now we're 10 miles away. Trimmer to stay just below 21,000. Okay, we're in point track mode, so the laser should automatically fire now. And again, if it doesn't, you can just turn it on yourself by pressing your laser designate button. So 8 miles. Just keeping in that bomb fall line with our velocity vector. It's not giving us that much extra range. There we go, 2 miles extra range. Now there the aircraft's already listing heavily to the right because we've just lost 1,000 pounds off the left wing. Now we'll see, it's a much bigger bomb. We've dropped it from higher altitude, that's got to smash through that target, and if you just saw there, it's got the laser. And we can zoom out a little bit and we'll see that coming in. It's absolutely going to smash through the target. There it went. Shack on another one. And again, if you've got the time, the targets are close by, move your pod while you're still in this orbit and designate the next area. That's dropping laser guided bombs in the JF-17. It's very easy to do. If you leave it in auto mode now, you can go CCIP, designate and choose when you drop yourself. It can get complicated, is the wrong word. It can get confusing, or you can trip yourself up. If you leave it in auto mode, you can see how simple it is. You designate the target, fly towards, drop your bomb. Simple stuff, and that's an alarm going off. Turn it off. So yeah, dropping bombs easy. If you do want to come along and practice that, come and join us at Tactical DCS. We've got our training servers up 24/7. You can practice dropping your bombs like an absolute champion. It'd be great to come and fly with you. Don't forget to click that like and subscribe button. There's more Jeff content coming soon, and other stuff as well, not just the Jeff. I'm just getting through this series so people know how to operate it effectively. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, Tactical Pascale out.